Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Before we went to a short break, we were discussing about professional women and whether women are allowed to work in Islam and whether they have to compromise their deen to further their careers. We'll continue our discussion with Sister Anjum and Sister Shabana. All right, another very important topic. Women today are working, they're looking after the home, they're looking after their husbands. How do they juggle all this? Is it even possible to juggle all this?
The super women, what can I say?
How do we balance all this?
Balancing and realizing that you have to balance. So I think that's the first step, is actually acknowledging the fact that you can't just put all your eggs in one basket, as the saying goes. You have to be having a hand in all these important roles in your life in order to keep everything going. And I think there's many, women who I see who are very inspirational because they're very successful at doing this. From at the outside, at least, it looks like they're doing well. You don't know internally what's going on, but I just think it's also for them to have that time. Having said that, also for them to give themselves time, that's very important as well, and something that I think is often overlooked.
Yeah, but I think when you say that a woman is working and she's looking after the kids, that's success. Because then when you put that pressure on a woman, then she feels that she has to live up to that, and then she starts neglecting the home to be able to further her career. And so is this a meter of success, that you're juggling everything and you're...
You see, my viewpoint is it has to be kind of an equal share. So my husband is extremely supportive of my career, so therefore is very supportive when it comes to the home and the children. So together we kind of work our careers and we work our children and we work our deen as well.
That's amazing, yes.
So, whereas we have a set routine, in the mornings I will do the school run and look after the children. In the evenings he will then pick up the children and do the late, because I normally come back from work late and he has to go work early. So we do it together.
It's a compromise, isn't it? Yeah, I do the same. My husband takes my boys to the school, I take my girls and I bring them back, and when he can bring them, so you have to, but it is difficult, isn't it? Now, balancing all that, how do we still maintain our Islamic identity, and how do we balance our deen with it? How do we keep up with our deen?
I think our deen is part of our lifestyle. So there's no kind of keeping up. It's part of your life, it's part of your everyday existence. So actually, if you have your deen within everything you're doing, as throughout the day, then there's no kind of trying to keeping up, because like in the morning, you wake up in the morning, you do your fajr, you do it as a family, you wake, my husband, bless him, he will wake us all up, he's very good at that, and you do that as a family. And so, when Ramadan comes, yes, that's going to be a struggle, because alhamdulillah, they're going to be very long, but as a family we do it together. So again, we'll be working, we'll be seeing to the children, but together we'll be going to masjid, or we'll be doing tarawih, we'll be, coming home together as a family. So I think it's about making, some people get caught up in, we must do this regarding Islam or that. Actually make it part of your lifestyle, make it part of your everyday. Then it's never going to be an effort.
And it is a part of your lifestyle, isn't it? The deen is your lifestyle. What do you have to say about that?
I think, mashallah, that's a beautiful lifestyle that you got. I'll give it to all of us. Sometimes I think the nature of the dunya is such that it makes you get caught up. So you get caught up in work, or you get caught up in raising the household, and you don't actually take that time to look back and reflect and have that time to think, actually hold up, even if it's in your everyday life. Sometimes subhanallah, it just becomes motions. So after a while, the beauty of that fajr is just
it becomes routine, isn't it?
So it's about going back and again just looking at refreshing your intentions, why you do everything, and really, when you refresh your intentions, it actually feels like you're quenching a thirst. It's a physical process as well as a spiritual process, because you feel like you've got that extra momentum to then go out and be that superwoman and do everything much better than you had been, because you've reaffirmed your faith.
Yeah, and I think chasing the dunya makes you lose your objectives in life, actually. It makes you forget why you're here, because you're so into chasing the dunya that you forget what the afterlife is all about.
Yeah, and a lot of women, when I see, people my age or whatever going into professions, initially, or even in studies, it's for a greater good. You see that intention there, that I want to get into, become a doctor for the sake of the ummah. I want to be even a lawyer for the sake of the ummah. I want to be whatever for the sake of the ummah. Somewhere along the lines, it gets lost. And
So how do we improve ourselves Islamically? What do we do? What should we do as women? You know, we come back from work and we're juggling, getting the dinner ready, putting that. I feel we need to give ourselves time, maybe at the end of the day. For every woman it's different. For me, the best time is after Fajr. That's my time. You know, I get so much done. I read, I learn the deen. For everyone it's different. How does it work for you? What do you do
I think
to improve yourself Islamically?
I think for me, because, you know, with the children, and mashallah, my children are quite young, for me, because of how I work, I do a lot of driving. So that is my time to, you know, think back, reflect, listen to different, talks, etc. While that's my time, that's my kind of no disturbance, no one asking mummy, can you come and do this and things like that. That is my time to reflect.
But you picked up on a very important point, that everything we do is a part of worship. So if a woman is actually going out to work with the intention of bringing money into the family for the children, that becomes ibadah, that becomes worship, isn't it?
But then I also see, sister, that, you know, when you have women who are in professional roles, actually that itself becomes a form of showing other sisters that actually you can do it as well. You can balance, and it's important for young women, practicing women, to be going into these professional roles, because actually it will show our younger generation that it's doable. You can do it. You can keep your deen and your dunya.
As long as we're not neglecting our homes and we're not neglecting our primary duties, roles. And have there been any occasions where you've felt that you've had to choose work over your deen?
Oh, I'll have to think of that. That one.
Yeah. Do you feel that you've had to, I know sometimes, you have, when you're in a professional environment and you have in a meeting and you can't leave the meeting and your Zohar is going, for me it's that. I just feel that, I need to do, everything can stop. I need to go and do my prayer first. But it becomes so difficult. How do you get out of that important meeting to actually go and do your Zohar so you don't miss it? You know, these little things.
Even I think one of the most classic examples is shaking a hand, especially in the legal world or whatever professional is that, shaking the hand, and when someone puts their hand out in front of you, what do you do?
For me, it's quite easy, because I always have my coffee in one hand and my folder in the other hand. I know, these are little tips, when your hands are blocked, then nobody is going to shake your hand.
Things like that, which I think are more Sharia aspects of, and that depends on how strictly you follow what your deen, your own deen. Different people have different interpretations of that.
See, I've always because again in the environment that I work in, people are very orientated to other people's needs. So actually, if you can't support the people you're working with, then how are you going to support other people's needs? So actually, when it was Ramadan and there was a meeting, and it was coming to and this is a few years ago, the time of the fast breaking, everyone knew that, right, Shabana needs to go at this time, 5-minute break, we'll have a 5-minute break so Shabana can go and open her fast and do her prayers. So actually,
you work in a very good environment, in a nice environment.
But it's a matter of working. When I started again 16 years ago, it was a different environment to where I work now. So I think as times evolved, and Islam is, people are very forthcoming now about asking, is it okay if we can have a prayer room? Is it okay if people are more forthcoming now? So actually I think that's where previously we weren't that open about, can we have a prayer room, can we have a break for Ramadan, or can we leave early because we're a bit tired, those kind of things.
Has being a Muslim helped you in your workplace or in your work or anywhere?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I find that if I want to go to a job interview, I want to go for a job, I will go for it, I'll go for the next position, and I just think to myself, if Allah wills, if it's good for me, it will happen. If it doesn't, that's Allah's will, something better is waiting for me. And every time I've had that attitude, it's always been that way, that Allah's had something better for me.
Lastly, I'll ask you all, what advice would you give to women who are struggling to balance their deen and their work? What kind of advice would you give?
I would say take a step back and take
Seek
that time,
help in Allah.
Seek help in Allah, as effectively and
Yeah.
essentially, and give yourself that time to do that. Sometimes you have to take a step back, look at everything, and then decide, I can manage this, I can manage that.
Prioritize,
Yeah,
that's so
prioritize.
important. You
I
have to
always
get your priorities right, isn't it?
I always think if I'm going through a difficult time, it's a test from Allah. It's a test, and I'll get through it, inshallah. And that's the way I always see it.
Jazakallah khair for coming, Sister Anjum. You gave some very, very important points. It was lovely having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Jazakallah khair, Sister Shabana. Thank you for all your input. It was lovely having you here.
Jazakallah.
There was so much more we could discuss because this is such an important topic for women. And, you know, we can go on and on, but we have to finish it here. Thank you, viewers, for watching this. We Muslim women are stronger than we think, more capable than we believe, and brighter than most, especially when we have role models like Khadija radiallahu anha, who was a successful businesswoman, Aisha radiallahu anha, who was a physician and a scholar, Salama, who was a model of reasoned calm and intelligence, and Fatima radiallahu anha, the daughter of the Prophet, who was quietly content with looking after her home. They all had different personalities, yet they were all amazing women. Islam is very flexible. There's no small frame that everyone needs to fit into. Given the perceived idea of women today, we don't know where that has come about, but it doesn't fit with the Muslim role models among the Salaf. They were all working women, they were scholars, they were educators. So inshallah, let's be successful, further our careers as long as it's within the parameters of Islam, and show the world what veiled Muslim women are capable of. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.